Committee on Parole is called back to order. The time is 9:10. Panel members today are Ms. Pearl Wise, Mr. Pete Freeman. My name is Tony Marabella. I'll be acting as chair. Our remote location is Elaine Hunt Correctional Center with the staff at Hunt. Please introduce themselves.
Good morning, Warden Donnie Barlow.
Christy LeBlanc, classification.
Joe Buttress, Assistant Warden.
Thank you. Our first case is Mr. Wilson Miles. Mr. Miles, would you please introduce yourself and give us your DOC number?
Wilson Miles Jr., 725 DOC number 72568.
Thank you, Mr. Miles. Let me explain our process to you. First, I'm going to read some information into the record. Then the board is going to conduct a parole interview with you. At the appropriate time, we will allow those persons who wish to have input to speak. Currently, here at headquarters today, speaking on your behalf is your brother, Robert Miles. Your sister is here. She will not be speaking, but she's here to support you. Your attorney, Ms. Jane Hogan, is on Zoom, and she will speak at the appropriate time. Ms. Hogan, would you like to make an appearance for the record, please?
Good morning, Mr. Marabella. Jane Hogan from the Louisiana Parole Project here on behalf of Wilson Miles, and I will speak at the end with the committee's approval.
Thank you. At the end, you'll be allowed to make a brief statement before the board votes, Mr. Miles, and then we'll hear from Ms. Hogan and the board will vote. You understand our process?
Sure.
This is the matter of Wilson Miles Jr., docket number 725-072-568, date of birth May 30th of 1947. He's a second class offender. He has a parole eligibility date of June 17th of 2022. He does not earn good time. He's serving a life sentence for the charge of murder. Is that basically accurate, Mr. Miles?
Yes, sir.
Your case has been assigned to Ms. Pearl Wise. She will begin our interview process. Would you please answer any questions she might have?
No, sir, I haven't really.
Good morning. Good morning.
Good morning.
How old are you, Mr. Miles?
Well, let me get something straight for you. I'm 77.
You're 77. Oh, you had a birthday May 30th.
Right.
All right, you're 77.
Yes, ma'am.
Good, good. How you feeling today?
I feel in between. I'm going and out between good and bad.
Okay, you feeling between good and bad.
Bad, yeah. Sometimes my head get pressure on. I gotta pass on.
I'm sorry to hear that. I'm sorry to hear that. So this hearing came about because of a new law. I know that was exciting news when you heard that, huh?
But the new law.
Yeah, the new law, because you had a life sentence, came about because of a new law. That's why you had a hearing.
Well, I don't really be keeping up with the law and stuff like that. One of my problems right there, not keeping up with this and that, but you know, I pick up information from people that I be talking with that all things to the law and stuff like that. Me myself, that really
I see. Okay, I got you. Now, let's talk about your crime. You were 22 when you committed this crime, right?
this one right here.
Yes, sir. The
24.
one you're doing time for now. You was 22 or so, 20. You remember?
24.
You was 24. Okay, all right. Did you know Mrs. Mary Zeno?
I didn't personally know her, nothing like that. And when I come in contact with the incident that we had between each other. When I
Say what
approached
now?
about-
I'm so sorry, sir. I didn't hear what you said.
we didn't know each other personally, nothing like that there, other than the contact I came with about a person and asked about some money we got into it. That's the only time I really knew her that night, in that one particular
So
night.
why were you asking Miss Mary about some money?
Okay, I got out of the penitentiary, you know, I'm young and everything, and had no job, and I've been out about a week, maybe. And you know, I had no money. I was walking down the street one night and happened to see all about a bus stop by myself and made the approach. But I was really thinking negative, stuff like that. There's nothing positive in my head, being young and stuff like that.
Yes, sir. Yes. So what had you just got out of jail for? What was that crime?
Burglary, sample burglary, 2 years for sample burglary.
Okay. So why should I vote to let you out of jail today?
Hmm?
Why should I vote to let you out of jail today?
Well, you know, I'm a chain person from then and now and stuff like that. I've been showing remote for victim people and stuff like that too. And for the victim too, I can't bring them back. I'm sorry about that. But you know, I did 52 years. So based upon that day, I feel like, you know.
You said baseball, I'm so sorry, sir. I just cannot seem to hear what you're saying. Just start over again, answering the question, why do you think I should vote to let you out?
Okay. The reason why I feel like, or I think you should let me out, I done did 52 years.
You've
stuff
been
like
what? Yeah, no, I'm so sorry. I can't catch what you said. You did what for 2 years?
2 years locked up, incorporated, for the church,
How many years you been locked up?
since 71. I'm a
Okay.
Catholic, I might be wrong, but since 71.
Yes, sir.
And I feel based upon that day, the change I made since that time and with the type of person I was then. Yeah.
What kind of programs have you had since 1971 that you've taken?
Well, when I came up through the penitentiary, where the penitentiary was, they had no program or life, you couldn't get to school and stuff like that.
Yes, sir. Yes, sir.
Since then, everything else, my incorporation been in and out the sale.
Can you read and write?
Well, I can't now. At 40, I could, but yes, man, I can read.
Good.
Pivoting for the water. See, where I started out at David Wade in school, when they called me to come down here at Hunch for hepatitis C, and I just stopped right there, and that way everything died out right there.
Okay. It looks like you've had 112 write-ups since 1971, and your last one was in 2018. That was your last write-up.
Right. Well, when I was getting all right up then with the penitentiary was, then, you know, you had to get them. But I changed a lot since then.
So, now, so if you were successful today, what's your plan? If you get let out today, what's your plan? Where would you live?
Well, I have 2 sisters left and a bunch of nieces and nephews. I want to go and visit fathers and nothing like that there. So I would ask the board if they would let me go, can you find me somewhere to stay and stuff like that and work my way back on the street. Now, if I have to get on the street or something like that, then I have to lay back and just go right off and nothing just like that. They're not whole new world. Now I have to lay back and analyze what's
Yes.
going on like that.
That's true. And and that's very smart of you to be thinking like that. Very smart of you. Well, thank you for talking to me. And you do have a low tiger. I just want to enter that on the record. Warden, what can you tell us about Mr. Miles?
Oh, he's been incarcerated a long time, Ms. Wise. Unfortunately, you know, he really didn't, he wasn't in a position where he can, you know, get a lot of programs. That last write-up he had in 2018 was actually just a simple fight. Before that, he went, you know, it was 2010 before he had a write-up before that. He's been doing okay. I wish he would have had a little more programming, but he's been doing all right.
All right, thank you, Warden. That's all I have.
Yes.
Yeah.
Mr. Raven?
Mr. Miles, I see you have some medical problems. What are your medical problems?
Excuse me, I got high blood, I got a bad heart, stuff like that. Then give me kidney pill, fluid pill, stuff like that. And I've been getting all this spell falling out off and on and stuff like that.
Okay, thank you.
Now we'll hear from your supporters. Let's hear from your brother, Mr. Robert Miles. Mr. Miles, if you'll walk up to that podium and just introduce yourself and tell us what you'd like us to know.
53 years old, married, 2 kids, 6 grade kids. I never know my brother. I would like to spend time with him, or hold anything I can do to help him. I I can help you financially get a place to stay and live. In 52 years in prison, man, that's a long time. I know he did his crime. I hope God have some mercy on him and let it go on. I never knew it. No, I born in 1970, he was gonna say 1971. And we just started to build a relationship. Well, it's just the time that we both have left on earth, I just hope we can share it together. Personally, face to face, and free, are you free? I can't justify his crime. I'm sorry he did it. He was young, everybody made mistakes. Everybody perfect. That was your decision to do that. It seems like the joint decision is in the end. Just hope y'all have leadership.
Thank you very much, Mr. Miles. It's obvious very difficult for you to be here, and we appreciate the courage you took to come here and talk to us.
Mr. Marabella, I believe that Carrie Myers from the Parole Project is in the waiting room. Sorry to interrupt.
Carrie Miles.
Is Mr. Myers on the line? Okay.
Good.
Good morning, Mr. Myers.
Good morning. Sorry.
Good morning. Mr.
Have a little-
Myers,
Yeah.
what can you tell us about Mr. Miles?
So we are prepared to offer Mr. Miles the transition services. Obviously, Parole Project is committed to 10-6 lifers. We know that he has a transition challenge, and we are prepared to assist him with that. We're also prepared to make sure he's connected to any medical services that he needs. We know he's going to have some medical needs once he gets released. And we're also prepared to help him find long-term housing that would be suitable and just for him. So we just want to let this board know that Mr. Miles is here because of, obviously this board knows, here because of Act 544. And we are absolutely in support of Mr. Miles's transition.
Thank you, Mr. Myers. We appreciate your comments. Mr. Miles, is there something you wish to say to us before we turn it over to Ms. Hogan?
I would like to say that, I want to thank everyone for giving me the opportunity to come before the board and have a chance to say something for myself. And thank the support, the ward and all of them, the board, staff, and stuff like that. And I also would like to say that I'm sorry for the charge and the victim family and stuff like that too. So, I'm more listening line right there, And I think about them all the time, the victim family. I think about all the time. For the last 30, 40 years. But anyway, I would like to thank everyone, each and every one, for the opportunity to give me to come before the board and speak for myself too at the same time.
Thank you very much, sir. We'll now hear from Ms. Hogan. Ms. Hogan?
Thank you, Mr. Marabella. Mr. Miles is here because of Act 544, and I know that his case is a little bit different than cases that this board sees where men have tons of programs and things like that. And Mr. Miles is just very different for several reasons, but according to my notes, this crime occurred in 1971, October of 1971. In the same month, Mr. Miles pled guilty, waiving all of his rights to a trial and to everything else, because At the time, the law was that after 10 and a half years, he would be released. And so Act 544 exists because there are several men in Mr. Miles's position who pled guilty with the understanding that after 10 and a half years, they would be released, and not be released because they completed programs or because of one thing or another. Frankly, at the time there were no programs to complete. And so here we are 52 years later. The promise that was made to Mr. Miles obviously was broken, and Act 544 is an attempt to make good on that promise. Mr. Miles is out of Orleans Parish. I know personally from working with the Orleans Parish District Attorney's Office that there has been a commitment of that office to resentencement. I know that there is no opposition to Mr. Miles being granted parole today. I've spoken about Mr. Miles's case with the Civil Rights Division of the Orleans Parish District Attorney's Office. They're aware of his case. And even though Mr. Miles doesn't have a ton of programs, he did make efforts. When he was at David Wade Correctional Center in 2014, he enrolled in school, he took literacy classes and learned how to read. And then he was transferred to Elaine Hunt because he had hepatitis C and he had to get treatment for that. He's also had several heart attacks, and as mentioned by the warden, his last write-up was in 2018 for a simple fight, but before that, it had been 2010, before that 2003. So in the last 22 years, Mr. Miles has had only 3 disciplinary write-ups. He's 76 years old. He has a low risk of recidivism. The parole project is committed to providing support for him, and considering also that he still has family that have shown up today that have advocated for him, we would ask this board to grant Mr. Miles's parole with any conditions that it deems appropriate. Thank you.
Thank you. So appreciate your comments. Is the panel ready to vote?
Yes.
Ms. Wise?
All right, Mr. Miles, it was a pleasure meeting you this morning. My vote is to grant for multiple reasons, but to the Louisiana Parole Project, because of your age, the time served, and the transition plan. You have an absolutely wonderful transition plan. I just encourage you to cooperate with the Parole Project. They are experts. They know what they're doing. Best wishes to you, sir.
Thank you, Ms. Wise. Mr. Freeman?
Mr. Miles, I agree with Ms. Wise, and I also vote to grant.
Thank you. Mr. Miles, when we first talked with you, you said you were 77 years old. You were born in 1947. You're only 76, because I'm a year older than you. And when we get our age, every year counts. So you're only 76 years old. My vote likewise is to grant to the Louisiana Parole Project. Good luck to you, sir.
Thank you.
You're welcome.